Good evening and welcome to Africa Focus on KOW TV. My name is Maurice Mbugua. From the energy-starved streets of Cairo to the high-tech voter drives in Nairobi and on to the diplomatic corridors of Hargeisa, we bring you the pulse of a continent navigating a world in turmoil. Now, we begin tonight with an analysis of a global shadow falling heavily across Africa. 1 month into the Middle Eastern war, the economic fallout has moved from a ripple to a tidal wave, hitting the most basic needs of African citizens. In Nigeria, despite the massive output of the Dangote refinery acting as a buffer, fuel prices reportedly reached unprecedented highs this Monday, straining the transport sector and the pockets of everyday Nigerians. The situation is perhaps even more visible in Egypt, where the government has been forced to take drastic measures. A nationwide curfew on hotels, malls, and shops has been implemented to curb energy consumption after utility bills doubled due to the regional instability. Now, further west, the Moroccan port of Tangier is transforming into a strategic fortress of trade as shipping giants abandon the Suez Canal and the Bab el-Mandeb Strait to avoid missile fire. A surge of vessels is being rerouted around the Cape of Good Hope, turning Morocco's docks into a critical global waypoint. But the crisis isn't just about oil and ships, it is about human rights. Amnesty International has issued a stark warning regarding the 2026 FIFA World Cup in North America. They suggested that millions of fans traveling to the US, Mexico, and Canada could be caught in the crosshairs of increasingly restrictive and allegedly abusive immigrant. Now, Amnesty International has issued a stark warning regarding the 2026 FIFA World Cup in North America. They suggested that millions of fans traveling to the US, Mexico, and even Canada could be caught in the crosshairs of increasingly restrictive and allegedly abusive immigration policies pursued by Washington. Even Africa's natural heritage is under threat, as seen in Gabon, where vital sea turtle conservation projects are reportedly on the brink of collapse following the withdrawal of US financial support. Yet, amidst this gloom, the continent looks forward to the EU Regional Business Forum in Abidjan this week to kickstart sustainable infrastructure. We also pause to remember that April 7th marks the International Day of Reflection on the 1994 genocide in Rwanda. As we analyze the modern day of reckoning for global energy, we are reminded that historical memory remains our only safeguard against the repetition of such tragedies. Turning to the front lines of the Iran war, Day 31 has brought a startling shift in American strategy. Reports from the Wall Street Journal suggest that President Trump is now willing to end military operations without his initial core demand, the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. The White House has reportedly confirmed that clearing the waterway is no longer the main goal for ending the war, as the administration seeks to wind down the conflict within a strict 6-week timeline. This comes as a major blow to global market. US gas prices have surged past $4 a gallon for the first time in 3 years, and the IMF warns that African nations are now struggling to secure oil even at this inflated costs. The human and symbolic toll of the war is also reaching a breaking point. In a rare public rift, Pope Leo XIII used his Palm Sunday address to declare that the divine does not listen to those who wage war, prompting an immediate and sharp pushback from the White House. Meanwhile, the military landscape has been decapitated. Iran has officially confirmed the death of its IRGC Navy commander Ali Reza Tangsiri, the man credited as the architect of the Hormuz blockade. While his loss is a tactical win for the US-Israeli alliance, the war is expanding. An Iranian ballistic missile reportedly entered Turkish airspace before being intercepted by NATO, an act of aggression that has yet to receive a formal response from the alliance. With Israeli strikes now hitting civilian power grids in Tehran and the Pentagon reportedly preparing for weeks of ground operations despite the president's talk of winding down, the gap between diplomatic rhetoric and the reality on the ground has never been wider. In a week defined by regional uncertainty, we turn our focus to the Republic of Somaliland, which continues to position itself as an anchor of peace in the Horn of Africa. President Abdirahman Mohamed Abdullahi hosted a high-level ceremony meeting Tuesday at the Presidential Palace in Hargeisa. The guest of honor was the former IGAD envoy Mohamed Abdi Afei for a series of discussions centered on security, regional development, and the promotion of sustainable growth. This meeting is a powerful signal of Somaliland's maturing diplomatic status and its role as a democratic entity in a complex geopolitical landscape. President Hero used the platform to highlight Somaliland's track record of maintaining internal peace, emphasizing that cooperation among neighboring states is the only path to lasting prosperity. The analysis here is clear. All the rest of the region grapples with conflict and the shifting alliances. Somaliland is marketing its stability as a model for the continent. Ambassador Afei praised these achievements and revealed plans to document his peace-building experiences in an upcoming book. Beyond the handshakes, the presence of senior business leaders with an eye on the healthcare sector suggests that Somaliland is successfully using its security record to attract long-term investment. This is the narrative of a nation that isn't just surviving the regional storms, but is actively building a sanctuary for growth and modern governance. And finally, in Kenya, a new kind of revolution is taking place, one led by TikTok Reels and music. Recently, the country launched a massive drive to register over 6 million new voters with a specific focus on the youth, following the tragic unrest of June 2024, where over 100 lives were lost in protest against tax hikes and corruption. Reports indicated that many young Kenyans had given up on the system. However, a new youth-led movement called Niko KOW, meaning I have the card, is working to turn voter registration into a cultural trend. From businesses offering discounts to those who show a registration slip to a planned mega concert in May where a voter's card is the only ticket in, the tactics are as creative as they are urgent. Activists argue that apathy is the greatest enemy, noting that youth turnout in the last election was the lowest in 15 years. Young voters are reportedly taking matters into their own hands, giving friends ultimatums to register or face being cut off. The goal of the IEBC is to sign up to 2.5 million new voters in this first 30-day phase. As the new Gen Z generation moves from the streets to the registration centers, the message to the political establishment is that the youth are no longer just protesting the system, they are in fact preparing to be part of the solution. And that story from Nairobi brings us to the end of our bulletin today. Remember to follow KOW TV on our digital platforms and keep the conversation going. Thank you for joining us on Africa Focus. My name is Maurice Mbugua.